Hey guys, welcome back to another Algebra 1 video. We're going to look at solving or simplifying. In this case, we can't solve. We're simplifying expressions with the distributive property. So we looked at expressions, simplifying them without distributive property yesterday. So we're going to take it a step further and we're going to apply the distributive property. Write in words the meaning of 3 times 12 or 3 in parentheses 12. I just gave you one of the answers right off the bat. So we've got 3 times 12. Is one way to say it. We have 3 groups of 12 is another way of writing this, or we could say 3 is being multiplied by 12. So thinking about that, how would I then take this knowledge that we have of this basic 3 times 12 problem and apply it to this one over here? 3 times the quantity x minus 4. Notice that 3 is outside of the parentheses. So that means that it's being multiplied by everything inside of the parentheses. So we can say 3 times x minus 4. We could say 3 groups of x minus 4. Or again, we could say 3 multiplied by x minus 4. So let's use some algebra tiles then to sketch this drawing here. If I'm going to sketch x minus 4 and I have 3 groups of it, first I'm going to sketch out my x and then I'm going to have my negative 4. So I've got 4 negative 1 tiles, right? Negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, and negative 1. Nice thing about using computers is I've got this handy little feature where I can box it in and I can copy and I can paste it 2 more times so that I have 3 groups of this x minus 4. So think about that. If we're going to simplify that expression, we have an x, 1, 2, 3 x's, and then we have negative 4 more, so that's negative 8, negative 4 more, that's negative 12. So it simplifies to 3x minus 12. So explain a method for finding the simplified expression without using that algebra tile. So looking at this, I hope that you can see, you can take the 3 and times it by x. It's called the distributive property. And then you can still take it to positive 3 and times it by the negative 4. And look at what we come up with. 3 times x is 3x. And 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. And there we have it, 3x minus 12. Okay, so the distributive property allows us, didn't mean to go down that far, allows us to multiply each term inside the parentheses by the number outside the parentheses. Let's read that one more time. The distributive property allows me to multiply each term inside the parentheses by the number outside the parentheses. So algebraically, we would say that this is a times b plus the a times the c, because I took what was outside and multiplied it by both things inside. I'm going to do the same thing here again. So a times b is just ab. A times a negative c is negative ac. See, here we had a positive times a positive, so it remained a positive. But if we have a positive times a negative, it becomes a negative. So we've got to be careful with those signs when we multiply positives and negatives. So using this distributive property, let's simplify the following expressions. Let's see if I can scroll down gently without it going cray cray. Okay, 4 times x plus 2. So we're going to take this 4 outside of here and we multiply it by the x. So I have 4 times x. We take that 4 and we multiply it by the 2. Now again, remember, it's a positive 4 outside of here that's being multiplied by a positive 2. So when I simplify that, I'm left with 4x plus 8. I encourage you at this time, pause the video and try the rest of these on your own. All right, so taking the 4, we already did that one. It's good. We've got 4x plus 8. Take it the negative and distributing it, we end up with negative 5x minus a negative 7, which becomes a positive 7. So negative 5x plus 7. Okay, the next one, -8 times 0.25. I think of that as having 8 quarters. If I have 8 quarters, I have $2. And then I think about the negative times a positive makes it a -2. -8 times 2 is -16. So my final answer is -2x minus 16. All right, this next one, distributed my 1/2. 1/2 times 9 is 9/2. Just pretend this is over 1 because it is understood to be over 1. 1 times 9 is 9. 2 times 1 is 2. So 1/2 x minus 9/2, and this one is done. Okay, so I didn't simplify this one all the way. This one's a little bit different. Notice we have this constant out here in the front, the 14. So I brought it straight down, and I'm only distributing the -6. -6 times the 3x and -6 times -1.5. Once I multiply that out, I can see that I have constants. They're like terms, so I'm going to go ahead and combine those. I don't know where this thing came from, and I don't like it, but it just keeps popping up there. So 14 plus 9 is 23. So my answer is 23 minus 18x, or we could say -18x plus 23. The commutative property allows me to change the order in which I add things, as long as I keep the sign that was with it. So what makes question 5 different than questions 1 through 4? Well, the difference is it had this constant out here out front. So we have to bring down the constant and only distribute the -6. Okay, moving along here. Maybe at a little too rapid pace. Simplify the expressions by distributing and combining like terms if necessary. So go ahead and pause the video and try numbers 1 through, at least let's do numbers 6 through 10. Pause it and try numbers 6 through 10. All right, so here we have them worked out. You can pause the video and check them. I'm going to talk you through a few of them. Notice in number 7, I just worked it out regular. There was nothing, no like terms to combine. But in number 6 and number 8 and number 9 and number 10, I had to combine like terms. I combined constants in number, let's see here, 8 and 9. And in 6 and 10, I combined the variable terms. And so I got my answers. As you can see, I worked them out here. And you're welcome to use a calculator to do your fractions for you. But I encourage you to be thinking about how to combine fractions. Make sure that you understand they have to have a common denominator to add or subtract the fractions. All right, let's keep working through this. We've got the next two, number 11 and number 12, says that Chandra simplified the following expressions but made an error. Describe her mistake and correctly simplify the expression. So this is another one of those error analysis problems that I love so much, because it's not only showing that you know how to do the problem, it's showing that you can quickly identify mistakes that other people have made. And that is important in learning mathematics. So let's look at it here. I can see that she distributed the 6.3, and it looks like she distributed it again here. But the thing that I see right off the bat that she forgot was I have a negative times a negative. A negative times a negative should make this be a positive. So that's going to change the outcome. If you don't distribute the negative along with it, then you're not going to get the correct answer. If she would have done it correctly, then she would have added that 63.63 to the 26.7, which would result in 90.33. So this should be 90.33, a positive, and -37.8x. Now, I'm not going to take the time to write it out, but I expect you to. You need to write that she forgot to distribute the negative to the second term in the parentheses. So the correct expression is the following. So look at number 12. Glenn simplified the following expression, but made an error. Describe his mistake and correctly simplify the expression. So as I'm looking at this, it looks like the -15 just disappeared. They thought, oh, these are like terms, so I'm going to combine the 18 and the -15 right off the bat. But we know the order of operations says I should distribute this and then combine my like terms. So he forgot to distribute and then combine like terms. They just distributed, or they combine like terms and then distributed lastly, and that results in the wrong answer. So if we would do it correctly, we should have gotten 18/5 x plus 9. 18/5 x plus 9. I have a new computer this year, and I'm going to have to figure out how to get rid of that because I don't even care about the news that much. It's too depressing. So I don't want to pop it up on my videos constantly. Number 13 says Oscar is painting a wall with the following dimensions. Circle the unit of measurement that would be appropriate for the height of the wall. So should we talk about feet squared for the height, feet cubed, or just feet? I think the obvious answer is just feet. When we're talking about the height of the wall, we would measure it in feet. Write the simplified expression for the area of the wall using the correct units. So we're going to take the area, it's found by doing the length and multiplying it by the width. Taking the length and multiplying it by the width. So we can go ahead and distribute this. 11.5 times 8.2 is 94.3 H. What did I just say? 94.3 H. And then take my 11.5 and times it by 2, and I get 23, a positive 23. Okay, so when I am looking at this, when I'm finding area, this side was in feet, this side's in feet. When I multiply those together, feet times feet is feet squared. So the height, or the area of the following is 94.3 H, that looks like a B, but it's an H, plus 23 feet squared. All right, looking at our last problem of the day. Georgia is fencing in a section of her yard for a chicken coop. I love my chickens. You'll learn that about me this year. The area will be a square shape. Write an expression that represents the amount of fencing she will need. So, important thing to note here, it's going to be in the shape of a square. So that means that the dimensions of either side are going to be the same. So we know that she's going to take this 9 2/3 x minus 19, and we could times it by itself. 9 2/3 x minus 19. A simplified way of writing this would be to just say, hey, I can just write it as squared. 9 2/3 x minus 19 squared is an easier way of doing this. All right, so we're going to stop there for today. I hope that this made sense. I would like for you to do a little summary of today's lesson, and that's all I have.